Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really want to talk about this. Four parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really want to talk about this. Four parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here.
Dave, hand me a beer.
Hi guys,
Hello.
Hey, what up?
welcome back for episode. Is it 5 now,
Mhm.
That's what it feels like.
Yes.
or is it just 2 to the 4th power?
I like that answer. That's perfect.
They both equal 5, right?
I think so. Let's not check it.
Oh god, I don't know. But we did try and record episode 2 last week and it did not take. We had technical issues, so
Twice.
But since we're
Why?
super hardcore, we did it again.
Yeah.
Back to back.
We're not quitters.
That's right.
yeah, that sucked because we went through the whole thing again and it was a completely different episode, which I like.
Me
We
too.
were impressed with
Yeah,
ourselves.
it worked. Just not saved.
Yeah, exactly.
So here we are again, and we're going to try it for the 3rd time because 3 times the charm. This is going to work.
I
Yay.
appreciate your guys' perseverance.
Yeah,
Really, that's what it
Good
takes.
work.
absolutely.
So where do we start? Oh, with that.
Oh, we are. Yeah.
Shots.
Everybody.
Hey.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's your chaser to.
I should have thought that.
It's not that much.
It's okay.
Reminds me of that one time we're about to have a terrible non-chilled shot.
Ugh,
Oh yeah,
gross. Why
All
are
right,
we
we're
doing
clinking.
this?
I remember that.
Clink,
Clink,
Oh.
clink,
clink.
clink.
Oh,
Cheers.
I missed you, AJ.
Oh,
Come back.
coming.
It matters. All right.
Nope, nothing.
That.
Bottoms
oh
up.
God, I'm scared.
Why do I feel like I need to cover the mic to drink
Oh
this?
my God, that's awful.
Terrible. Terrible.
That's why.
My goosebumps have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay, now Rick and Rack'em, we're ready.
This is the second time I've done a shot in like years. I do not do shots, and
And
this
And
podcast
the first time was on
is
the
a bad
the first
influence
podcast.
on me. But it's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes you feel alive.
Yeah. Something. I sense an immediate energy change where like
Makes me feel like a natural woman.
All right, well, guys, here we are. What are we talking about today?
I think today's topic is How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah,
Remember
Oh,
from
yeah,
last
that's
week?
Right. We should if there's anything we should remember, it's that.
maybe we should talk about how we all met Roberta, Tiff's mom.
Roberta is my mom, or Patty, or Noni, or Roberta. She has multiple names.
I like Roberta. I've never heard that one.
She doesn't. Sorry, Mom, when you listen to this.
I'll try
That's
not to
Jake's
say it now.
nickname for her.
I actually learned
It's the
a
perf.
lot about your childhood. I was telling AJ this the other day, just recently. We had some time together, Tiff and I have like a deeper respect for Roberta and who she is and the mom she is after just hearing your life story. It was cool.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
She was my rock star growing up. And now I'm still old and she's still there, which is
Good
huge.
job, Robbie.
I don't know. No, Robbie's okay. Bobby, I don't think. I think
Bobby's
she might.
not
Or
good.
Bert. Don't
Bobby,
call her
it
Bert.
is.
Bert.
Oh my gosh, Mom, when you
Birdie.
listen to this, we're so sorry.
I
I'm
love
so
you.
sorry.
You know I love you.
We love you, Roberta. All right. So what are we? So How I Met Your Mother. We
Hopefully this
were
doesn't save. No, I'm just kidding.
we were off to a horrible start.
We were much better last week.
Ugh.
We wanted to talk a little bit about how we met each other. Just give a foundation before we really dive in deep with all of you. We just wanted to maybe introduce ourselves in the way of how our relationships came to be and how they evolved and all the dirt in there just getting crazy.
Mm,
It's dirty.
tabloid.
Back off paparazzi. It's only episode 2.
Yeah. We're not famous just yet.
So yeah, there are years of relationships here and a lot of great stories to share. So Toby and Jake, you're up first.
We're going chronologically.
Good idea.
Okay.
Wait, are we counting time travel?
Shit.
They're not supposed to know about that. That's episode 67.
My bad.
Dude, we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
They're not ready for it.
You want to go first, Jacob?
Sure. I met Toby in, I don't know what year it was. I was 17 because I was driving. So you were probably 15.
I think I was about to turn 15 that August, but I probably met you in like June or July, if I remember. But I don't know. It was
Yeah.
Casa Ross's birthday. We should look up her birthday.
We went to Casa Ross's birthday party. That's where we met. She was a mutual friend. Ramstein Air Base in Germany, where Toby lived, and I lived about an hour from there on a different military base. And so yeah, I was kind of talking to your older sister, kind of the beginning stages of dating there, and I met you, and I remember I brought my guitar to that birthday party and did some campfire serenading. But
It was excellent. I was impressed.
With
or without you.
But the skills have remained the same for the last 30 years.
I have karaoke performances recorded that can prove you wrong.
So at some point, I guess the party was phasing out. I was going to drive you somewhere. I don't know if I was taking you home or if we were going to get Popeye's chicken or what was going on. But I asked her to remind me of her name, because I think we met inside of the party, but I was opening the car door for you. And you said Toby, and then as I was closing the door, I was cleverly thinking to myself or saying, "We're not in Kansas anymore, Toby." And then I closed her door, and then I was walking around in my door, and I was just thinking to myself, "You dumbass! It's not Toby, it's Toto." And so then I opened the door and fessed up. I'm like, "That's not right. The dog's name is Toto." And she's like, "Yeah, I don't
And it was
remember how
that
it rolled out."
honesty that drew her in from the get-go.
Mhm.
So I don't remember what we did after that, but the big memory was the birthday party, meeting you, and I do remember that from the very beginning, you just impressed me in that you were kind and loving to everyone.
Making me emotional over here. Thank you.
Let's have another shot.
I remember meeting Jake and just realizing like very quickly that he had a very powerful effect on people, that he had a big energy and a big presence, and that he also was really kind and really cool. And he had a trunk full of Red Bull. And he was so generous. Like, I remember him always offering to pay for everything for people when he had the money, which was pretty much all the time. He was a hard worker, and his parents would help him out with some cash sometimes. And so like he just would offer to pay. We'd go to Anthony's Pizza or the movies or whatever. And he was always just super generous. And also he really did like open the car door for every girl that was there. And that was so nice. So I was just always really impressed by his kindness and his goodness and generosity. And there was just like a sunshine that beamed out of him, and it was infectious. And he was a very talented musician, and I was impressed by that, but always on a friendship level. He was, as he mentioned, like dating my sister when I met him. I don't think they were completely dating yet, but that ended up being like a little bit of a thing or whatever. What a dick move to date someone that dated my sister, but I'm so grateful that me and my sister have a good relationship. She's a good woman. But yeah.
Did we check first?
Yes, we did get her blessing, I think. We
I
asked
sure
for
hope
it.
so.
We asked
I can't remember if
for
we
it.
got it. I can't remember, but
That part, who cares about that
We're all
part?
friends
You asked,
now.
right?
This is a decade ago. It's really fun.
I mean, when you ask the dad's permission, are you really not going to do it if they say no?
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
my dad was
I
like,
always
no!
I always thought it was so silly, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't want my children to feel like their partner has to ask any of our permission. That's one of those things. Today we were having a family activity where we were just sitting around talking with the kids about memories and whatnot. We were talking about how tradition is like something that is basically, I saw a meme that said tradition is just peer pressure from your ancestors.
I love that.
And I think, and then Jonah's like, but Navajo tacos are really good. And I was like, okay, some traditions rock. Like, I still like to get a Christmas stocking,
Yeah.
but like
the traditions
so
taste
many
good.
times we need to look at
Halloween's
our
cool.
traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And be like, why
can
are
let
we
that
doing this?
stay.
Why do we? We watched, well, we're watching Love is Blind Brazil right now. And in Brazil, the men and the women wear engagement rings. So the men are also appearing as taken, just like the women. And I love that. I'm just like, why do men not wear engagement rings? It's such a dumb. Anyway, we should all look at our traditions.
We're exploring our options.
But anyway, Jake and I became fast friends, and we always had a very special connection. And even, to this day, I was just with Anna and we were eating at Carlos O'Brien's and we were talking about Jake and his goodness. And I got emotional. I get emotional all the time when I think about Jake because I truly love him and I love who he is. I love the father he is. I love the human he is. And that's never gone away. He is always there to help somebody. I can't remember what it was, but one time, I think it was probably Billy, destroyed like a bunch of stuff in our living room or something.
Yeah.
And it seems like I came home or I came downstairs and Jake was like down there cleaning it up. He was like sweeping my floor. I was just like, where did you come from? Thank you so much. Like, he's just a good human. And I always felt that from him. And we didn't end up dating until we were both at BYU years later, because I met him when I was 14. But I feel like I can speak for the both of us when I say we've both just had a mutual true friendship and admiration for each other that has sustained, of course we've had our ups and downs for sure, but I just love the guy. He's a good dude.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thanks.
AJ, what are you doing later?
Sleeping alone, I think. Maybe on
When's
the couch.
the wedding and when's the affair?
Oh, good times. That's beautiful. You guys
It
are great.
was. It makes my heart happy.
Mine too. That was good. Who's next chronologically?
I think AJ and I,
Yeah.
but I'm done talking, so go ahead, honey.
All right. It was a dark and stormy winter night.
It was December.
It was December. I don't think it was stormy. It was dark because it was late, but I have a friend who we met through playing video games, and we were really good friends, and him and his wife would host a poker night at their house every Friday or Saturday night. And I made it to, all of them because I love poker and I love my friends, usually after work, and would bring food for everybody, whatever it was. This particular time, I was not going to go. And then last minute decided to go. And so I showed up late. I think it started at 7. I got there at like 8 or 8:15 or something. And my friend, Casey, opened the door and said something funny. And I said something back. I don't know. I remember there was some interaction where there was laughing involved, but I was literally looking past him because where the poker table was positioned, down away from the front door, Toby, I didn't know her at the time, obviously.
Angel.
Yeah,
Beaming with light.
directly from heaven. She was standing up and leaning over the poker table, and she was like pointing at something or talking. I don't know what it was, but I
You
literally
saw my cleavage.
I
I
did.
was just going to say.
To this day, she was too far away for the cleavage, but I do remember to this day what shirt she was wearing. It was like that blue or turquoise-ish, like satiny kind of, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, somebody told me it looked like it had penises. Those shapes were
That's
penises,
probably
so I
why
stopped
loved
wearing
it
it.
so much.
It's pretty sure it's
Peni.
Peni, yeah. No, that makes more sense now that I think
I
about
did
it.
like the shirt
Yeah.
until that comment.
So you don't have it anymore? Okay.
To be fair, I've never thought it looked like a penis was on that shirt or peni. I'm confused now about what the correct terminology is, but I remember instantly
Let's talk about cactuses instead.
yeah, thinking, who is this person and why are they here? And I would really like to know who they are. And it turned out that somebody that we had met in Wendover, which is like a border Nevada town west of Salt Lake City, if you're not familiar, where there's, gambling and whatnot. We had gone out the weekend or maybe a few weeks before, whatever it was, we were playing poker out there. We just went out and having a good time. And we ran into a guy that I knew from high school, and he kind of knew someone else in our friend group, and we were talking, and they invited him to the poker night. Well, it turns out he comes, and he actually previously had been married to Toby's sister. Crazy.
Andrea,
Yeah.
my
She's
sister's
bringing everyone
exes
together.
brought me to both of my husbands. I don't know.
Tiff, how did Andrea
Thank you, Andrea. You're just an angel
get
in
you
my
into
life.
this family?
I'm really upset she didn't.
I know.
know.
We'll talk to her about it. It
Oh,
seems unfair.
cranky.
I think she did the coding for Plenty of Fish.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Andrew, you're getting a phone call tomorrow, and we're going
Yeah.
to figure this out.
We'll see how it all fits together, because I'm sure that she played a role in it. But he was there, and he brought Toby because he didn't want to come alone, I think. And she had never played poker before, and just from the instant I went in, I remember she got introduced to me. I don't even remember if you introduced yourself. I was literally just like, okay, AJ, game time. Like, you've never ever tried to flirt with anybody ever in any situation. You've never asked for a phone number. You've never done anything. Now's your chance. And we're playing, and I do remember that I wasn't drinking because my kids were at home, and my friends were trying to get me to drink because they're my friends. That's
I
what
was
you
trying
do.
to get you
yeah,
to
she
drink.
was trying to get me to drink, and I didn't want to do it. But I was so just like, I definitely was trying to play it cool, but also be funny and flirt a little bit, but not directly. I was giving it everything I had in the most subtle way possible. And she took all of my money, and I did not give it to her. I love playing poker. I still love playing poker. And she had never played before, and she was winning every hand and taking all of my money. And honestly, even though I was into her and was like, this person is so cute, I was not happy about losing. I will never be happy about losing at poker. But we talked, and eventually the game kind of ended, or we were out of the game, and we were sitting on the couch, and I was kind of telling her about my kids, and she was telling me about her kids a little bit, and showing each other pictures and whatnot. Anyways, I asked for her phone number, which I literally had never done before. Like, it's not what I ever did. And I remember she was telling me a story while we were there, that there was this guy who like wouldn't leave her alone, and he kept sending her scriptures about like trying to manipulate her into liking him, because we had both grown up Mormon, and there's a lot that goes on there. But said goodbye, waited a couple of days, and then the first text I sent her, I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, was a scripture about love. And she just, and it was, I knew it was risky, but she responded and just said, "Who is this?" And I said sheepishly, like, "It's AJ, I'm sorry." And
Who dis?
and we both happened to be at different Walmarts at the exact same time doing Christmas present shopping, and it was kind of funny. And
Both super centers?
yeah, definitely.
Wow.
24
Amazing.
hours?
Yeah, both super centers. There was fruit and everything. That shit was everywhere.
Apples, bananas, cherries.
You guys aren't even gonna believe this.
Wait, BANANAS?
Automotive center. Anyway,
That's hilarious.
so one thing led to another, and we texted for a week straight, and ended up going on a date with the same friends. Like, they just happened to be having, because Vinny, my friend, and Kendall have birthdays really close together, and so they were having a birthday party at the Red Door, a little wine bar in downtown Salt Lake City. And
Martini bar.
Martini bar. Sorry,
Oopsie.
my bad.
It's fine.
She's great at that stuff. You know? She fits like a glove. So we went on
Vinny's
this
also
date.
my cousin.
It was the best night. It was so fun. We ended up at some birthday party of a friend that she had before at a club, and I don't dance and have ever been to a club, and we went, and I'll always remember the first kiss we had was on that dance floor to Rihanna's "We Found Love in a Hopeless Place."
Hopeless
Oh.
place.
Yeah. And
Every time I hear that song.
and then I can legitimately say I fell
I thought it was a
in
homeless
love.
place.
I said hopeful.
Sorry.
I like your play
Homeless-
on words.
Homeless better sums up everything. It's fine. But I can definitely say I legitimately fell in love over the first few weeks of just mostly texting is what it was. Like, we saw each other a couple of times, but mostly just texting. And I just knew this person was special, and I was so excited that she seemed somewhat into me. So
I was very interested right away, and I could feel AJ's goodness and his purity and I didn't think that he would have never asked for a girl's number. He really did play it very well. But I don't have my penis shirt, but I do have the jacket he still has the jacket he was wearing. And every time he wears it, it brings all the feels back. Like, I thought he was so cute and so kind. And I was so impressed by a few things about AJ. That night, he refused to drink, and he does not get swayed by peer pressure. And I find that so sexy. I was just like, he does not. I'm the girl that I know he's interested in me, and I'm like, come on, just drink. And he would not, because I was tipsy and just being irresponsible, but I wasn't driving or anything. I didn't have my children that night. But then the same night when we went to a club, AJ's first dance club of his whole life, to meet one of my friends, one of our friends was so drunk that he couldn't drive his own car. And so this friend was laid out in his own back seat, and AJ was sober and fine enough to drive. And so he's like, I can drive your car for you. And this guy in his own car's back seat was being so rude to AJ. Like, he was belligerently drunk, and he's just like, you suck at driving. I don't know. He was just like being rude, just like trying to be funny. But I don't appreciate rude humor, as my children very well know. I don't like it. And AJ rolled with the punches. He knew that this guy was just really drunk. And no matter how rude this guy was to AJ, he still found a way to make it funny and like go along with this guy that was being rude, but he never one time was rude back. He didn't smack back with like some kind of rude humor. And I thought that was so attractive. It was so attractive to me, your goodness. I literally fell in love with you because of your kindness. And that has never changed. And I'm so, so grateful for the example you set to our entire family of standing in who you are and not letting anybody sway you in a way that is inappropriate. You know, that doesn't mean you're not open to other people's opinions and open to hearing other points of view and you know, opening yourself to them. But if you know something is right or wrong for you, you're not going to let someone else sway you in that. And I find that so beautiful. And also, you're just kind. You never have anybody else as the butt of your jokes. And specifically me, I'm never the butt of your joke. And I really appreciate that. And yeah, you're just a good guy.
That is so nice. And also only holds true until I start drinking. Because then if you're like, you can't jump off of this
true.
second story.
Vinny could get him.
And tuck and roll and not break a leg. I'd be like, yeah, I can.
Vinny and him would have some drinks, and Vinny would be like, let's go do something crazy. I don't know what like there were times where I'm like, okay.
For sure.
You guys are cut off.
Yeah. Parkour definitely was something
Totally.
that would happen after a few drinks. That's so nice. Thank you so much.
I love you.
I love you.
You guys are totes adorable, and I do not shorten words.
I feel special.
I do too.
You should.
I feel special.
He really doesn't like people that say that. So for you, that's a big deal.
That is
Man.
a big deal.
That's major. Thank you, Jake. I think next is, do we do Jake and AJ?
Well,
Yeah.
chronologically,
JJ?
it makes sense.
It was really important for me when I started dating AJ that AJ knew that it was really important for me, as it feels redundant, to have you guys be kind to each other. I knew that Jake would be kind, and I wanted to make sure that anybody I brought into my children's lives was going to be extremely kind, friendly, not just cordial, not just like being courteous in person and still having that be uncomfortable, because that was something that was very difficult for me as a child and still is something that, you know, when my parents are in the same room, bless their hearts, I have no hard feelings, but it is very anxiety reducing. There is still so much tension that hasn't been worked out. And so I just wanted the person that I chose to bring into my children's life. And you were the first person that I ever dated after Jake that I allowed to meet my children. You know, I told you, like, I want you to not only be kind, but literally be his friend. He's a good person and he's my children's father and he's really, really important. So, and AJ has always been true to that. Like he's always sought to be kind and friendly and not get too involved in the parts of our relationships that have been contentious or whatever, you know, and I'm really grateful to you both for that, being mature enough and understanding how important it is to put the kids first when it comes to these things, to just be kind to each other and to literally work to form a friendship too, you know?
I think what's really interesting about it is that I had never been in a situation where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to meet this ex, you know, and she's expressing what she's expressing about it or whatever, you know. And I had never thought about this before, really, you know, even though I had been in the same situation with my ex-wife dating someone new and there were dynamics there and so much going on there and whatnot. When she's expressing all of this, I'm thinking like, okay, it's important that I be kind. It's important that I'm accepting, whatever, you know. But the reality of it is who Jake is as a person is great, you know. And like Toby said, like there were ups and downs. There have been times where we've disagreed or times where we've had hardship or times where I've straight up been an asshole about certain things. And I think that underneath all of that and the dynamics that come along with any kind of relationship that is, you know, stems from divorce and hard feelings that are there, who Jake is such a naturally good, fun, funny, great person that it was genuine. It was just easy. It was like, oh, this guy's fun. This guy's great. You know, like it's sure there are things that are hard and like within our relationship, in your relationship, and a relationship Jake might have had with someone else at the time. Like there are always these little things when kids are involved that make stuff difficult sometimes. Who Jake is as a person and how I felt about him was easy and natural. It was like, oh, he's just fun. He's nice. He's generous. He cares about the people around him. He's doing his best. I'm trying to do the exact same thing. Like that's an easy relationship to have. So I'll preface that with whatever's next.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
You too.
I do remember prior to ever meeting AJ that I was given a friendly heads up from Toby that I've met someone and I like him. And there are a few things that I would like to change. Maybe just like I didn't choose the separation at the time. So ultimately at the time I was hoping that we were going to get back together. I was hoping she was going to change her mind. So I was still trying to flirt and I was still trying to be, you know, Rico Suave and when I would give her a hug, I would try and give her a good hug. And so she was just like, some things I would like to change because I've met somebody new. I'd like you to stop flirting with me or trying to flirt with me. And these excessive full body hugs, I would like that to stop too. and so that was hurtful in the moment. You know, maybe my hopes of rekindling were not going to happen or something like that. So I wasn't, you know, we were coming from different angles, AJ and I, where he was the new guy in the situation and probably just wanted all of us to get along. And I was, you know, kind of coming in butthurt. So prior to the separation, we had a family trip planned where we were going to take all our kids to Disneyland. And that got canceled. And I still don't think we had met each other in person to where they dated for a few months and they planned a trip to go to Disneyland and to take all of the kids with them. And I remember just, you know, feeling like I just felt really shitty, like, you know, like I was being replaced. I mean, I knew and understood the romantic part of being replaced, but the the part that where, you know, a different man was going on the dream vacation with my children that I wanted to be on. It really hurt my feelings, and quickly turned to anger, and rather than beat around the bush or sweep under the rug or suffer in silence, I chose to communicate with him about what was hurting me. So that was basically our first interaction, was his response to me being upset about his vacation with my children. And he was just as G-rated and kind as he could have possibly been. Like he said, "I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. I'm going through the same kind of stuff with my children." I don't remember everything that was said, but I just remember he heard me and he understood me, and I instantly liked him because of it. Like, I had some fundamental reasons to want to hate him, that we can all understand. But his first response to my being hurt and being upset, so right out of the gate, us meeting, I was negative, and all he could do was, he didn't say, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I'm going to cancel this trip," but I didn't need that. All I needed was another good dad to hear me and acknowledge it, and he did that perfectly. And I'll probably come up with some more stuff, but I'll let you take over for right now.
I love that story, and I just appreciate everything you just said. And it's so funny because you expressing it takes me back to that moment. And I remember, like, for context, I remember my kids coming to my house and starting to call me AJ Dad. And I was like, okay, like I didn't think much of it really, and I was just like, well, okay, there's like back and forth, whatever it might be, but like, I'm your dad, but okay. And as I broached that topic with my ex-wife at the time, she expressed to me like, well, we believe that the word step is a word used by Satan to divide families. And so in our home, we just have them call her new husband Dad, and then you're AJ Dad. So there's not confusion. And I just remember being like, I'm sorry, what? Like that right. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I, in that interaction, remember thinking like, oh, this person feels the same way I do about things, is worried about the same things I'm worried about, is stressed about the same stresses I'm stressed about. And I want him to truly understand, like, I'm there with you. Like, I get it. And I understand it's not my role to ever in any way replace you at all, period. And a funny story of that, which I know you'll remember as I start telling it, is we went to the Build-A-Bear workshop and we had all the kids and, multiple last names, multiple different people, whatnot, And so the very first person that got a bear built was one of my biological children. So the last name on it was Farish, they put it on there. And then they just did the rest of the kids, and we just told them their name and whatnot, And for whatever reason, they put Jonah's last name as Farish on the receipt or on the bear or the tag that came with it or something,
Really?
And you were like, what's that? And I'm like, oh my God, no. Like
the bear birth certificate.
Yeah, the bear birth certificate.
Jonah Farish.
The bear birth certificate. That's what it was. And I was like, I promise you, I am with you 1,000,000%. I would never, ever, ever. And so I just appreciated, like, it showed me in that moment that, like, oh, this person cares about the same things I care about, and it'll be easy for us to be on the same page with different things.
I just want to say something about having newfound compassion for what that must have been like for you, Jake, and for you, AJ. But when you tell that story about Disneyland, like, I was just in such a different place, a place of selfishness, a place of survival. But when you tell that story, I just have so much compassion for you and what that time in your life must have been like. Like, recently, Jake and I sat in his backyard and we had like a heart to heart, and we talked about some really hard things, and we just kind of like hashed it out, and we expressed some hard things, and he expressed things that I had never considered about like what must have been hard for him in our marriage and in our divorce. And my appreciation for how you handled those things has grown even more, you know, and even the way that you communicated with AJ without even having met him in person is so admirable. I just respect it so much. And I'm so sorry. Like, we should have chosen a different vacation. We all need to go to Disneyland together.
Let's go
Plus,
together.
Jonah's still pissed because he was 2 and we didn't
Oh,
take him. We
yeah.
left him with
Didn't
my
get to
sister.
go.
Oh,
So
And I
he
get to walk
and
in first.
Yes,
Yeah.
you get to walk
And I
in first, and we're gonna
And
buy
I'm
you like
dad, and
Mickey
he's
Mouse.
AJ
That's
dad.
AJ dad. Why does AJ get punished? I should
No,
be
it's fine. I deserve
Toby
it.
mom.
it's
fine.
okay. I'm gonna make us all t-shirts, so it'll be totally
Oh my
fine.
God, we
Mine
have such
say
a good
AJ dad.
T-shirt hookup.
It's great.
CreativeDesigns.com.
So good. I
Anyway.
will, for the record, I will gladly wear a T-shirt that says AJ Dad. Just
Well, it's
Disneyland.
funny because that's what your Christmas stocking says.
Yes.
Like, I'm so dumb, and I already had Jake's stocking. We all have matching stockings, and I had them embroidered. And Jake's already said Dad, so I put AJ dash Dad,
Dad.
like he's both.
Right.
And then I'm like, that reads AJ Dad. That is so fucked up.
It didn't bother me at all, but it's so funny because we joke about it to this day. It's great.
Lame.
It's okay because I bought like, I think, because we added Brandon this year and Bella. So I have
Yay.
12
Wow.
stockings that we can
Yay.
have done. So if you want to be dad, I can make that happen.
We just
That's
need 2
amazing.
dads
Yeah.
and 2 moms. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'd be a little sad if I lost my AJ Dad one. Like,
Okay.
It makes me
there
feel
are no
bad.
there are no hurt feelings, and it's such a great culmination of a story.
Okay.
Please, let's keep it.
I think
Maybe
both
could
of
get a
ours say
Jake
mom,
Dad
though.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Should we do a Jake dad?
I just have a dad shirt in Disneyland, and yours says Jake Dad.
Right. Yeah.
Really drive in the knife.
Ours will just say Mama T.
Perfect.
Oh,
I love
that's
that.
great.
We're just Mama T.
That's
Sunflowers
great. I like
forever. Okay, so next would be Jake and Tiff, right?
Yes.
Finally, we get to hear from Tiff. Come
I
on,
know,
girl.
I've been waiting.
Cranky. Okay.
That's a Tiffism. Tiff has
Yeah.
so many unique words. Like, she calls hamburger buns rolls. She calls the laundry the wash. She calls the shopping cart a buggy, and I absolutely love it. I love her word, her
Remote control is
Tiffisms.
a clicker.
She says
Oh, the
cranky.
clicker.
The remote control is the clicker.
Yeah. And you know what? I finally felt validated by my funny language when our kids are like, hey, did you flip the wash? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I hear them say it all the time. I'm
They
like,
do.
yay,
It's
Tiff.
working.
I've brainwashed them.
It's working.
So I'm the newbie to the group. I met Jake in 2016 and we did it the online route. I had been doing Plenty of Fish. I had separated from my ex-husband in 2014, moved to Arizona. And then my friend Stacy, who I know will be listening to this. So thank you, Stacy, for
We love you, Stacy.
Yeah.
I love you the most, Stacey.
I was on Plenty of Fish. I met some guys. They were just like, show me your boobs. And I'm like, I'm not into that. Like, I'm a single mom of 2. Like, I'm not going to be your Pornhub. And I'm like, I'm going to give up. Told Stacey, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to play around anymore. And she's like, just give it one more night. And I did. And the next,
Show
And
us
the
all
ver-
your boobs.
The very first text he sent you was,
I kind of think that Stacey's asked me to show me her boobs.
Yeah,
My boobs.
it's funny that Tiff is the only one out of all of us that doesn't like boobs.
I don't.
Oh,
I could.
wow.
This is so off topic, but you know what? I don't care about your sexuality. I just could never go that route because I think that they're just big, flappy things of fat, and I don't find them attractive.
I love them.
Give me your lips, and I mean, not those lips.
Come on.
I'm an eye and lip girl, but I want the lips upstairs, not downstairs.
You guys didn't know where this podcast was heading, did you?
We're just getting started.
My drink's empty, so I should be good for the rest of the show. But anyway,
Got you.
so she was like, yeah, just stick to it. So I did. I went to bed, made my coffee the next morning, opened up Plenty of Fish, and boom, there's a novella from Jake. And I'm like, wow, this guy is such a... He's such a good copy paster because it was so articulate, grammar spot on, no spelling errors. I'm like, this guy is really, really good. So I looked at his pictures and I'm like, okay, I've never been attracted to a ginger before, but whatever, I'll give it a whirl. And so I responded and we chit-chatted for a couple days and wound up with each other's phone numbers. And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving town. Is there any chance we can hang out on Wednesday? And I was like, yeah, no. I already had plans. And he's like, come on. Like, I'm leaving town for like over a month. Like, give me a shot. And I'm like, yeah, no, sorry. And then he kind of stopped responding to any, like, we just didn't communicate anymore.
I
Yeah,
did not stop responding. You never got ignored.
there's just no further
You just didn't
communication.
initiate anything, and so for several days I didn't message either.
So then the wind blew me in one direction, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try and give this guy a text. And I'm like, hey, stranger, how are ya? And you want to take it from there?
I think you asked me like, where'd you go or what happened. I was just like, hey, you had your chance, and it was Wednesday.
And it was Wednesday.
Now I'm gone. Like,
Now it's Tuesday of the
Yeah.
following week.
Oh,
Anyway.
man.
I just remember thinking very, black and white, very like, hey, I did my best to try and see her, and she wasn't having it. And I don't know. It was,
But to back
it
up a
was
little
pride
bit,
thing.
you
It was a pride
also,
thing. I was like, all right, if you don't have time for me on the time that I've got, then you're probably never gonna meet this badass.
but in between our non-communication, he had to have immediate gallbladder surgery.
But
And-
yeah, I mean, Wednesday would have never ended up happening because I was in the ER on Tuesday.
Turns out Wednesday was bad for both of us.
Chip was in
But
tune.
I could have learned her bedside manners.
Yeah,
while
right.
She was taking care of me at the hospital.
See if she's picky about hospital food. You know,
Maybe
you
we
need to
could have
know
gone on
those
an
things.
ambulance ride together from the restaurant.
How
Right.
romantic.
Absolutely,
She was worth the wait.
that's right.
But yeah, we wound up being just long distance.
We called our-
Compadres, yeah.
we called each other since we both had iPhones. It was like I girlfriend and I boyfriend or something like that.
I'm glad you didn't
Um,
have those green texts.
Oh yeah.
Damn droids.
So I was in Oklahoma City for work for at least 3 weeks. I don't remember how long it was exactly, but we, as soon as we when we started talking again, we were talking constantly and FaceTiming constantly, and I drove on the weekends where I had some time off for my traveling work. I drove down to Dallas where I used to live to visit some friends, and I remember the whole way it was late. Like I worked from 2 to 10 and was driving from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. or something like that. And I had her on FaceTime the whole way, where she was looking at me, but I was looking at the road, of course.
Safety first.
Tell it
But-
to the
but-
No
judge.
double
she-
chin. He's good.
But she helped me stay awake the whole way, and I think that's really when I fell for her, when she was willing to FaceTime me during my entire road trip, and then it wasn't much longer after that I got back home and we had our first date, which was just Netflix and chill. It was
Okay,
just at her
give us
place.
the deets.
Oh yeah. Let's
How
get,
What was
far
that?
did you make it
yep.
on this?
We're
Netflix
asking the
and
hard
chill?
questions.
But he came
Was
over.
there oral?
So he came to the
Surgery.
house. And,
Yes.
but wait, I'm backing up a little bit.
Yes.
Let's- I'm talking. He comes over, and
Always spelling over.
oh my god, he's like, "Yeah, let's watch a movie." And what the hell was that movie? Because it was something I had never heard of. Granted, I grew up on a farm, so we don't
You
watch a
remember
lot
the
of
movie?
TV. We were playing in the fields.
Were you Amish? Because it was Pennsylvania.
No, but I went to college where the Amish were.
That's
It was with Bill Murray.
Oh, was it?
Dead Poet Society.
No,
Bill Murray.
Was it the murder mystery where he like
no,
thinks he's
The
in
Man
a...
Who Knew Too Little. Amazing. Groundhog
No.
Day.
no.
Kingpin.
Shh, quiet for a second.
Okay.
Stripes.
Something Cloud, Saint Cloud.
Saint Vincent?
No. St. Vincent's good.
Maybe that was it. But anyway,
If it is, that's a great movie.
I'm like-
we should all
Is
watch
it Bill
it.
Murray?
so he comes
Yeah.
over. I'm all excited. Like I'm finally meeting like my iPhone boyfriend, and I wanted to fall asleep during the movie.
I take it back. A
Should've
terrible
just started
movie.
making out insteed.
So yeah, that was when we first officially met. But things like moved very, very quickly. But I feel like just
Sounds like it.
I'm sorry, Mom, if you're listening.
It was just like the next day or the day after that you at least met her at Adobe
Yes.
Grill when I was doing that guitar gig.
Oh,
Because that was just a day or two
Oh.
after we had met.
Oh, I
face to
didn't
face.
realize.
I was totally thinking I met her
At the
at
pool
Anna's
party.
birthday party
Oh,
at the pool.
okay, so I'm getting mixed
yeah,
up.
you're
then.
way rushing into things right now.
Sorry.
Well, it sounds,
Sounds
like,
like
that
you both
Netflix and
did.
chill. Yeah.
So we meet September 3rd, right? So Jake comes back from Oklahoma City. He comes to my house, and maybe the next day or that night, he's like, yeah, my daughter's birthday's coming up. There's a birthday party at our house. You should come and bring your kids. So I was like, okay. And my kids had only ever met one other person outside of their dad. So I was just like, this is really weird, because the one prior was just like, he wanted an instant baby mama. And I was like, this isn't going to work. I'm like, okay. So I really, really like this guy. Am I willing to put myself out there? I'm like, I feel safe with him. I feel like comfortable. Like, yes, I'm going to do it. So Reagan and Mason and I get in the car. We drive to Jake's house, pool party. I walk in. No one but Jake. And he like leads me like through the house to the pool area. And like we sit down and I look over. And there's this like black bathing suit, amazing hat, bombshell lady. And I find out that's Toby.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, oh, motherfucker.
I don't remember the hat.
Oh, it was a really cool sun hat.
Oh, that sounds familiar. I've seen that.
But not only was she there, her husband AJ's there. Her dad and her stepmom were there.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, they
Wow.
were. I'm like,
I forgot about that.
So anyway, the whole family's there. My kids get to meet their kids. And the night ended really great. I made bracelets with Anna by the pool. We were invited to go on their boat the next day. And
One of the tower speakers fell on Reagan's head.
while we were out, one of the tower speakers of Jake's boat fell on Reagan's
Oh.
head. Mason would not get in the water, and
Oh,
we're like,
no.
the boat is like Jake pulled anchor, and then we're starting to get away, and Mason's still on the land, and we're going further away from the land. We're like, dude, let's get in the water.
Not
I'm like,
getting easier.
dude, get in the water. I'm like, you can't fuck this up for me.
You're making me look bad.
I love you, Mason.
We love
Um,
you, Mace.
Oh, that's great.
But we very quickly, like, that was September. By April, me and my kids moved in with Jake and his kids. And yeah, that was our 2016, and got engaged and married 2019. And
She proposed to me
Yeah, that's my
on
girl.
the beach in Mexico underneath our favorite constellation, Orion.
From no Wednesday dates to proposal.
I was super nervous. I've never proposed to anyone before. And like, my armpits were tingling. And
Mine do that too.
Yeah,
It
mine might start.
in the middle of the
I was
proposal, like a
tingling in another
Mexican.
special place.
Toes.
Yes,
Yeah.
His
my
toes.
toes.
But right after the proposal, a Mexican band started playing on the beach. We're like, where's that sound coming from?
It'd be weird
I
if
just
it were
remember the
like.
two.
Did they know?
No.
Did you kneel?
Yeah,
We were laying on it, sitting on a blanket
Oh,
It'd be weird if it were
And it
like
was
an
pitch
Irish
black.
band.
in Mexico, and
beach in
Irish
Mexico.
band
Yeah.
starts. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, here we are. Like, I'm living a life, which I can honestly say, like, even just a life with Jake, that I never expected was a reality for me. I don't think I honestly knew what true love was until I met Jake.
Aw.
Like, someone that through all of my faults will unconditionally stand by my side and just still want to hug me after me being like a royal bitch the day before and being batshit crazy. And like, he embraced who I am through good and bad. And I've never had that before.
That's
And this family as a whole, like the Bush Monkeys and Toby and AJ, like, I am a woman coming into everybody's lives, and I was given the benefit of the doubt and trust. It's incredible, because it's all the feels I've never had throughout my entire life. So I'm very, very
Aw.
grateful for this family.
We're grateful for you.
Oh, baby.
truth. I just want to say that, you know, you say you were given the benefit of the doubt and all the feels. And I just appreciate and admire you so much, Tiff, because just like with the people I dated, wanting them so much to be kind to my ex-husband, I was so hoping for the same thing in return for me, to just be, to have somebody be kind and to respect me as these kids' mom and to want to co-parent and be friendly. And I just admire you so much, Tiff. You have always been so caring and kind and intentional, and also have never felt the need to get super involved in the difficult things that happen between Jake and I. You know, we've had some really rough times sometimes, and like for the significant other of us to like get involved makes it uglier and more difficult. And so I just find so much wisdom in you. And I don't know, when AJ and I first started dating, I had this like fairy tale picture of me and his ex-wife getting along and being friends and co-parenting. And I was like, you need to set up a dinner with us and her, you know, I want to meet her. I want to meet her husband. These are the other parents of your children. I want to meet them. I want to work together with them. And I just thought it was going to be all sunshine and roses. And like, from the moment I met his ex, and I don't want to like talk trash or anything, but like there was no kindness and literally just like had no desire to work together as co-parents. And so when you came into Jake's life and my kid's life, and you were just easygoing and kind, and you cared about my children and you made them a priority to me, I was like, anybody who genuinely cares and loves my children is a friend to me. I want to support you because you are loving and caring for my children. And I instantly loved your children too. Like we call Reagan and Mason my bonus children, and Tiff is a total bonus mom to our Anthony. And, you know, she's literally gone out of her way to take him to Froyo, just the two of them. And like, that makes Anthony feel so special. And Jake too, like has been so kind to AJ and I's biological child, and, you know, bought him shoes and bikes and all kinds of things, like more than we ever buy him.
One time he was like, what kind of dad is Jake to me? And I was like, probably a better one than I am. I don't know.
It's like, who's Jake? Yeah. You know, but truly, I admire you so much, Tiff, to come into all of this madness with so many kids, to bravely take on 4 more, and 5 of you count mine. I just bless you. I bless you. I admire you so much. And I'm just so grateful that you were open to me and kind to me and willing to just like work with me. And, you know, you are such a huge part of the peace that we have in this family. You are sunshine. You are so good to all of this family. And I love you. I admire you. And I remember there were times when you guys were going through the transition of being stepmom and my kids, or our kids. And they would come and be like, Tiff this, Tiff that. And I would be like, well, it does not sound like you're being respectful. She is one of your parents. And, you know, and I just think it's so important to support each other in that way, and not just use that as an opportunity to be mad and to, you know, whatever. And I don't know, I'm just so grateful for both you and AJ and who you are coming into Jake and I's kids' lives and incorporating your own children. Y'all are my heroes.
Well, thank you.
We're just happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I just work here. It's totally fine. But I mean, it is, I mean, even with Anthony and AJ's kids, like, and like Toby and Jake's kids, like, I will tell the Bush Monkeys, I'm like, I love you so much, even if you didn't come out of my hoo-ha. Like,
another tipism.
yeah. I'm like, you are mine. I would dodge a bullet for you. I would jump in front of a train for you. I love you like you are my blood. And I think they hear it so much from me. Like they get it. It's not a lie. It's not fake. And I'm not the happiest person 24/7. And they still love me and they appreciate it. And if it's too much, we talk about it. And I'm never going to be the perfect stepmom. I'm not going to be the perfect wife. I'm not the perfect mom. Nothing. But like I will continue to try and grow. And if I'm not doing something right, I will learn how to fix it. And I just want to be that piece of the puzzle that just ties us all together. That's all I want at the end of the day. Like, this is my forever family. It's not going anywhere. Like, we're going to make it work.
I feel the same way. I feel like one thing that especially almost exponentially over the last year, I feel like we have tried to do is really figure out how to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And that's, for me, it's something I like tell a lot of people about in my daily life. Like, I think that everyone is happier when everyone is giving everyone else the benefit of the doubt and not assuming that someone's saying something to hurt you, doing something to wrong you, whatever it is. Don't even trust your own five senses, like give this person the benefit of the doubt until you're very, very, very sure that their intention was something that was to hurt you, because we're way too easy to come to offense. And it's usually from a good place. That's the thing that's so tricky for so many people, is it's like, you're not being offended because I'm proud and I'm this and I'm that and whatever it is. It's that it's all love for other people. And so you're worried about them or defensive of them or whatever it is. And I think that we have learned to slow down and just understand that we know who each of us are, and not just the people here at this table, but our whole family. And let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt and really try to help each other grow through that instead of accusations or assumptions.
100%. And I think, like Anna, I hear this the most and it echoes in my mind most recently, like over the last 2 days, is you never know. And just speaking specifically of our Gold Star family, is like, you never know what the other person's dealing with in that moment. So like, I'm OCD. My happy is clean. If I see dishes in the sink, like I get a little frustrated and I might get a little bit like RBF on my face, but it's really like, what was that person that left the dirty dishes in the sink? What was going on in their head? Like, what's happening through their day? And I'm trying to evaluate my own temperament based on, Jake always comes home from work and he has a really stressful job, but he always comes home with like a skip in his step. Like, he's happy to see the dogs and me and the kids, but like he might have a moment where he needs quiet. And I'm like, instead of being like, oh my gosh, is he upset with me? I have to think, what transpired in his day? What emotions did he feel throughout the day? Or if Jonah comes out of his room and he doesn't say hi to me, like, I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm going to think, what was he doing or what was he thinking that is making him feel this way? And just put that extra step of effort into like, hey, you good? And that's huge for me, because instead of taking it personally, I need to evaluate what's going on the other end of that person that I'm face to face with right now. And that's, again, huge and massive for me, because I like to take things personally. So it's reevaluating who I am to feel more for that person. And in a big family, in a step family, introducing your kids to a significant other, or living as a blended family, there are so many things you have to change of who you are to just be there for who your people are.
Agreed. And shout out to Jonah, by the way. You just mentioned Jonah. He is editing our podcast.
Woo-hoo!
And he created the jingle that you heard at the beginning of this episode. And you'll hear it again soon when we wrap this baby up. Jonah is so talented. You can look him up on SoundCloud or preferably Spotify. Jonah Bushman. His music is excellent and he's so talented.
Very talented.
So thank you, Jonah, for doing all of this for us.
Maybe we can learn how to put links in the comments.
Oh my God.
Like and subscribe, whatnot.
We're going to be AI's taken over.
We are eventually you guys are going to be able to see us face to face one day. I mean, there is a giant box on this table. I have no idea what all these switches do.
Don't talk about my vagina like that.
But eventually you will see us face to face, and we will be YouTube, and we will have the like and subscribe. But hey, the link that's in here that you're listening to us on right now, like it, follow it. And for now, bigger and better things are to come.
Yeah, we just getting
So true.
started. So as
Good
we
work,
wrap
Jonah.
this up,
Appreciate you.
yes, thank you,
Good work.
Jonah.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
So awesome. As we wrap this up, I would just maybe ask all of you, what would you say? We're talking about How I Met Your Mother. How would you, or what would you say to somebody who just met somebody and they're really feeling it and they have children? Like, is there a timeline on when you should meet? Is there like, do not let your kids meet your partner until at least 6 months? Or is there something like that? Or what would you say to somebody going through that same kind of situation? I think it's so common, 50% or more of the US is divorced, and many of those people have children, and we're all kind of in this together. What would you advise them?
I'm going to draw on something from earlier in this conversation where we were talking about traditions and how sometimes they're kind of just like forced on us. And it's almost like with an element of expectation and shame if you don't follow through exactly how it's supposed to be. And I feel that applies to literally everything, and especially this subject where like there are so many filters you have growing up in life that tell you, whether they're religious or parental or societal, geographical, in school, friends, whatever it might be, that tell you this is what you're supposed to do and this is what is normal. And all of those things at their core take you away from what is most important, which is your own core, which is listening to your intuition and trusting yourself and feeling like you know what's best for you. I'm a big proponent of that, and I think that if we're talking about when is it appropriate to introduce your children to someone else, trust yourself. You love those kids more than anybody else does. You know those children more than anyone else does, and you know what is better than anybody else's tradition or religion or societal norm or friend opinion might tell you is the right thing to do. And you'll always be okay. Like, it doesn't mean that you won't run into bumps along the way, or you might even look back and be like, oh, I maybe should have waited a couple of weeks, or I maybe should have not had that person. It maybe would have been better to not have that person be a part of my children's life so early, or whatever it might be. Everything is growth and everything is movement. And if you love your kids and you have their best interests at heart, then that will always come out on top, even if there are things along the way that were difficult, or maybe you want to look back and say, oh, I wish I would have done that a little differently. That matters so much less than just trusting and protecting and being involved with and being there and doing what feels right in the moment, because your kids are growing with you and they will see that. They'll see you learn from it, acknowledge it, move on, and they will have known that you loved them the whole way through it.
That was totes gorge.
Thanks. I feel special.
I'm a big proponent for gut feeling. Like, if I feel unsettled or uneasy, that's a trigger. Like, something's up. So if you're dating someone and they're like, hey, I want to meet your kids, like, if it feels natural and comfortable and your gut's not in a bad place and it's just feeling good, then go for it. If you're having ill feelings about it, then maybe you need to wait a little bit, but your gut is going to tell you. Your brain and everything is working for you. And your kids, again, like AJ said, they are the most important things to you. And like when introducing mine to Jake very quickly, I felt safe. I felt comfortable. I felt like we had established a friendship, whether it was, it was just that strength, that vibing, that energy, that even though it was long distance, like there was something there, and I knew it was going to be okay. And I think that's so important. Like, trust in yourself, trust your instinct, and it's not too soon. You know what I mean? Like, I know couples that waited months and years to even move in together and blend their families. And I'm thankful for our history and what our journey has brought us to. And same with Toby and AJ, how you guys made things work and how Jake and I have made things work. Like, it's special for us and it's meaningful. And I think all of us have followed our intuition. Mm-hmm. And it's led us to what our right place is.
Agreed.
I agree. And I think a big part of that is being intentional about putting your kids' needs first, but not taking away from your own needs, but very much considering them. Like, I think it would be irresponsible for any of us when we introduce our children to our significant other to be like, this is the love of my life. I know this guy is for me and da 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 da. Instead, being kind of unemotional about it at first and saying, I have a new friend, and some friendships last forever. Some are valuable just for a short time, but this is a good human I've met and I want you to meet them too, or whatever. I just think it's important to make sure that we are considerate of our children's feelings and letting them communicate whatever they want to communicate along the process. Because like both of you are saying, there are no strict by the book answers, and going by tradition, going by what your mother or your father or your pastor or your priest says, like above your own intuition, I just doesn't make sense for me personally. What makes sense is caring about these precious kids that are in my care, talking to them, having open lines of communication, and also not setting the expectation up that could lead to disappointment, but to just let it flow gradually and organically, and to keep the emotion out of it. Save that for your Starbucks date with your bestie. Don't confide in your friends about like, oh my God, I love this guy already, blah, blah. But also when it comes to your significant other introducing their partner, your ex introducing their new partner to your kids, that can create a lot of triggers. It can create a lot of protective mechanisms, and I think that, like AJ was saying, we need to give our exes the benefit of the doubt. Now, there are some times where there are dangerous situations. Right. There absolutely must be action taken to protect children. And I'm not speaking about those situations. I'm just talking about humans who have good intentions, who care about these kids, who are doing their best, but they might not be doing it the way that you would choose to do it. The resistance that you have, it's very rare, if ever, that like you're like, I don't think you should be dating. I don't think you should, and that's going to work. You're not going to change your ex's mind on when they should introduce someone to their kids. Like, your resistance is going to cause it to be more stressful for your children. So if you can try your best to remove judgment, to give the benefit of the doubt, to be open to this new person, to see the good in them, to see how they might be different from you, and in that way be beneficial for your children. Yeah. That can be helpful. And again, I'm not speaking about situations that could be literally toxic or dangerous for your kids, but good people with good intentions. We're all different and we all have different ways of going about things. And we do need to just open a little bit more and remove judgment and try to give even our exes and their new partners the benefit of the doubt, and just open up and be kind, and that will benefit our children more than, giving into these triggered protective mechanisms that are like, this bitch is not good for my kids, like just open if you can.
It's beneficial for both partners, both exes, and the kids. Like, why do we have to go into this being hateful?
And it creates a space too, when you're open and you don't try to control it or manipulate the narrative. It creates a space for your kids of safety where they understand they can come and express something to you. Like, if there is something that you may actually be concerned about, your kids are going to come tell you about it, because they don't feel an overwhelming oppression from you about, or, you're not like a line of questioning that's like, what's going on? What is she saying? What's she doing? What's he, this, that, the other, if you're just accepting and open and there for your kids, then you even have, if you have those concerns, you have more insight to what those concerns actually look like and if they're valid, because your kids are going to trust that they can be open with you. Because as much as we all want to think like, especially early stages of divorce, like, oh, I'm the parent that knows what's going on. Your kids don't give a fuck. They don't care. They love their parents. And the more you are putting any kind of negative energy on a situation with your ex's relationship with their new partner, they're going to shut down and they don't want to talk to you.
Yep. And by no means
Truth.
are we experts at all.
No,
but
I am. I don't have gold on. I think I've
my
proven so far
PhD
in
is
this
not
episode.
in
Oh, right.
marital bliss
Okay,
or
you're right. I'm
step
sorry.
parenting. But I mean, we've been through it. We've been through it together, and just sharing our experiences and our opinion, we feel is very, very important, because we would love to see more blended families be able to communicate like we do. And I think that's the bottom line. If this podcast can help one family, one blended family, like, I'm happy.
Truth.
Sir.
I'm kicking my feet up in the air.
I think we've all learned over the last decade plus that, I mean, we can't lecture each other in a negative light and have it turn out well.
Yeah.
The best that we can do for co-parenting, if, you know, like, say, for example, if I thought Toby and AJ met introduced the kids too early or something like that, I mean, preaching about it to either of them, and they can be the most logical human beings in the world, but like, it just doesn't, most of the time, almost all the time, it does not work.
True.
True.
The best you can do is lead by example. If you think you got the answers and you think you got it figured out, you know, to just be kind and be loving and blah, 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 like, leave the lectures out of it. Just, if you think you've got the answers for you know, just lead by example. And Toby, you touched on it. Sorry, I made some notes. No,
I love
no
it.
emotions
In
with the
typical
kids
Jake
when
fashion.
Introducing, just don't be like, hey, I love this guy and I'm about to introduce you to him.
Yeah.
This is a friend of mine. Just like, keep it as basic as possible. Like, hey, somebody's going to meet us at the restaurant for lunch or whatever.
Absolutely.
And then was to kind of add what you were just saying, AJ, like, don't try and, after it's over, you know, after the Bush monkeys, that's what we call the kids that have the last name Bushman. After the Bush monkeys meet Tiff for the first time, I'm not, you know, going straight to the kids and saying, you loved her, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, isn't she amazing?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to do
Here's 20
any kind
bucks.
of
Aren't you
convincing
happy?
whatsoever, then if you're trying to do any kind of convincing whatsoever, then in my opinion, you're doing it wrong. Like,
Absolutely.
just listen to them, hear them, and then do not, in my opinion, introduce your kids to your new significant other because your babysitter canceled.
Ooh,
if
yes.
if it has anything to do with convenience or your affordability on a babysitter, then you already answered your question. It's too early.
Cancel your plans.
Exactly.
Truth.
And then a new one that we didn't record this the first two times.
I
because
love
I
it.
just came up with it.
New news.
Everybody's putting their best foot forward with the initial dating, right? So
Yeah.
let's have that on the forefront of our minds, is maybe, just maybe, we should be looking for that moment when the new person that we care about and love, when we see that transition of their best foot is no longer forward. Like, I'm now seeing the real, you know, a very low percentage of time you see the real, you know, you see the real person from the very beginning, but a lot of the time it's best foot forward. So let's figure that out on our own individual level. Like, okay, they're best foot forward, and like, they're not doing that anymore. Now they're just acting like themselves. I feel confident in that, and I like who they are, and I think my kids are going to like them
I
too.
love that. Yeah.
And be open to that. Like, be open to them just being a human.
Right.
You know, like,
Doesn't
they
mean
can
they're
be
bad.
flawed. Those
Yeah.
flaws can teach your kids a lot, and just allow those communication, allow the communication between you and your children to be open, so that if there is something, when that best foot forward steps back a little bit and they become a little bit more human, the kids can communicate and you guys can have that open communication. I think is really important. Those are great, Jake. I love it.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
That was
Good
good.
work, everybody.
Good work, everybody, today.
And good work, you audience. We couldn't
Yeah.
do this without you.
That's right. Oh, I
You
like
guys
the
are the
clap.
real winners.
Yeah.
You guys. No, you.
That's right.
We
Not me.
appreciate you
You.
for listening.
We'll get you AJ Dad shirts.
Yes.
We will have merch.
creativedesigns.org.com.
Good job.
creativedesigns.com.
You guys, we did it. Episode 2 in the books.
I'm
High
really
five.
excited
Up
if
top,
it's all
all around,
All the
saved.
way around. Let's get it.
Good work.
Okay.
Air 5. Good.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, here we go with our jingle and LLT.
Let's go. Love you
Bye.
guys.
4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really want to talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. 4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really want to talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here.
Babe, hand me a beer.